I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Hello, Windy City travelers and explorers. I'm Andy, tour guide with Free Tours by Foot, and today we're talking about The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the book that inspired the musical, that inspired a film, that inspired more books and more musicals. But did you know that it all started right here in Chicago? Author Frank Baum wrote The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the first book in the series, right here. So today's tour, we're exploring two spots that celebrate that work. First, we're going to explore Oz Park, right behind me, with all of his beloved characters inside. They all live here. And we're going to talk about some fun facts about the world of Oz and the people that helped make it happen. And then we're going to go for a walk on the actual yellow brick road. Yes, Chicago has a yellow brick road in Humboldt Park, which is the neighborhood where Frank Baum moved in 1891 to write his book. So over there, we're going to talk more about the author's life and inspiration. And I've actually never been on the yellow brick road, so I'm very excited to see it myself. But first, let me get the camera turned around and we'll start walking here in Oz Park. All right, I have my camera turned around, and now we're getting a wonderful entrance to Oz Park. This is a park that is just actually a 10-minute walk from the Lincoln Park Zoo, and in the same neighborhood in Lincoln Park. So very easy to get to if you're traveling or exploring. You can get off the red line off of Fullerton, or you can walk about 10 minutes, like I said, from the zoo. Great quiet area just outside the city without having to travel too far. It is so wonderful that the Tin Man is here to greet us to the park. He is, we're going to meet all the citizens of Oz today, but he is the first, and he was also the first citizen of Oz in this park. He was installed in 1995. I always like to take a brief moment to show you all the plaques and take a lot of close look at the detail, 360 view on these virtual tours of these sculptures so that you get to see all the detail that I get to see. One of the first things you'll see is the artist's initials are there, the JK, and I see the sun is peeking out, so it's probably causing a bit of a shadow. There you go. JK in 1995. So that stands for John Kearney. John Kearney is the late, great Chicago artist who created all of the characters in this park, so what a gift. But this one, the Tin Man, is very special because it is the perfect commission for John Kearney, because he is actually famous for using found car parts or found metal, specifically bumpers, to make animals and characters all over the city and all over the world as well. I think he does a magnificent job with these characters in this park. Oh, that sun is hitting the Tin Man so nicely. He does such a nice job capturing the characters from the story. Now, these aren't all going to look like maybe the actors of the movie, right? But they do definitely capture the characters, and he's given them all kind of a prop. You can see the Tin Man has his axe and his heart. So he's done just a really nice job. But this is the only one that's actually made out of the metal. The rest, as you'll see, are made of bronze. So of course, as I start walking through the park, the wind just gets too terrible to really understand me well. This will be the last time I try and wear AirPods as a microphone. We're still learning on our brand new channel. So I'm going to do a voiceover for this portion, and it actually gets a lot better audio quality once we get over to Humboldt Park and the Yellow Brick Road. So I mentioned that the Tin Man was added in 1995, but the park itself has actually been open since 1974. And of course, they decided at that time to name it after the Wizard of Oz, or Frank Baum, as he was known as the first popular American children's book writer. And you can see that our second citizen of Oz is not very far away from the Tin Man. We are now looking at the Emerald City Gardens, a beautiful green spot, a garden within a garden in the city within a garden. Of course, Chicago's Latin phrase, urbs in horto, that is our motto, meaning city within a garden. And while this park is only 13 acres, so by no means the largest park we have, this is a great example of the gardens that we love to see. I'm coming across the Scarecrow. You are going to see me struggle with the gate to get into this garden, and then I take a moment to make sure I don't let this dog out. Always want to protect our doggies, right? So you'll see a quick cut. But once I get the gate shut, I introduce you to everybody's favorite, the Scarecrow. And yet again, another work of John Kearney. Like I said, he did all of these. This one would be added in 2005. And I'm not sure if the camera really captures it, but he's actually about 7 feet tall, and he weighs about 800 pounds. And I give you a nice glimpse of his shoes here because I think the detail work of Kearney's sculptures is wonderful. And of course, we have another Oz character very shortly who has some famous shoes of her own that we will also zoom in on. Now again, keep in mind this was not meant to look like the movie, so this is not Ray Bolger, this is the character of the book, and he is holding his degree in, I believe it was Thinkology, his doctorate that he got because he wanted the brain, and he got his brain after all. So I mentioned, these aren't made after the movie, they're made after the book. Well, who designed these characters? Who first drew them? That was a man named William Wallace Denslow, who was a Chicago-based artist who actually worked with Montgomery Ward's mail order catalog for quite some time. And he is known more than an illustrator, but actually a co-creator of The Wizard of Oz because oftentimes Frank Baum was building a large world. He didn't always take the time to detail out all of his characters, and so oftentimes Denslow was left to kind of imagine what some of these characters would look like, and his illustrations really did paint the picture of the world, for lack of a better term, for kids as much as Baum's story did. Denslow is a very unique character. I actually learned that he would later on take his royalties from The Wizard of Oz and buy Blucks Island in the Grat Sound in the Bermuda area, and he would later declare himself king of that region. So, very eccentric artist there. I also learned that he had a totem that he would hide in his illustrations, which was a tiny seahorse. Which I just thought was a cute little detail about the man. Now we are coming up on another portion, so we walk by the Emerald City Gardens. Right next door is Dorothy's play lot, and I'm actually not filming on purpose here because there are many little kids and their families enjoying the day, and of course want to respect their privacy, especially with children. So instead I'm going to show you the dedication of the park. You can see Dorothy's play lot right there in the back briefly. But there's nothing modeled kind of after maybe Emerald City or what you think it is. It's just a playground. But so that whole portion, though, is named after Dorothy, not Dorothy Gale the character, not only Dorothy Gale the character, but also Dorothy Melamerson, and you're seeing her dedication right here. So this was a neighbor of the park at the time when it was under construction from the Lincoln Park Conservation Association, who at the time wanted to build this whole park as part of an urban renewal plan, really just to greenify the neighborhood and make it pretty. And Dorothy worked very hard to raise a lot of money over the years for the continued renovation of this park, and she did pass away, I believe it said there, 1994. So rest in peace to Dorothy, and of course we always have to give credit and shout out the people who are out here doing the thing and creating these beautiful places for all of us to enjoy who live and visit the city. So our next stop, we're actually walking towards the main character of our story, Dorothy Gale herself, and you know she has a little friend with her. We'll see him too, because as I mentioned, this park's only about 13 acres, so it's not terribly large. Most of it is filled with 3 baseball diamonds that we'll see in just a bit, as well as a tennis court. And it's just designed as a nice walkthrough in this neighborhood. So you can see Dorothy coming up there. We're actually coming from behind her, and just in one moment you're going to see what makes this sculpture in particularly very special. And you can see it's her ruby red slippers. Kearney just did a phenomenal job. Look at Dorothy, of course played by Judy Garland in the 1939 MGM classic. Judy Garland was only 17 years old when she played this role. And of course, as I said, I always like to show the plaques. So she was added, we're actually doing these a bit in order here. So she was added in 2007. She was the last character, the most recent character to be added. And I'm giving you a nice close-up of her ruby red slippers there. And Toto getting his bone. He's a good boy. He deserves a treat, right? So this was the last sculpture to be added, and Kearney has since passed away. So we will see one more character in just a moment. We actually have to go pretty far to see him. Um, but I do remember I took quite a bit of time here because I am not a sculptor. I am not an architect. I am amazed very easily by a lot of things. One thing I love is the detail to her arm. You can see the wrinkles in her elbow, actually the vein in her arm and her fingers is just incredible to me. It's really, really special. Now, we don't have the Wicked Witch of the West in this park, and I am so curious to know if they will continue to add characters or if they're just going to leave everything that Kearney created. And then I do like to share one fun fact I actually knew before I started researching for this tour about these ruby red slippers, which is that the ruby red slippers were designed for the movie to contrast the look on the yellow brick road, as MGM was playing with Technicolor, of course, in a big way in that movie, and the red popped much more than the original color of those slippers, which were in the book silver. They were silver slippers in the book that Dorothy had to wear to click her heels and return home. So now we have one more character to find, and I mentioned it's not the witch, it's the Cowardly Lion. So the Cowardly Lion is actually on the far corner of this park because he is a big old scaredy cat. I think he's hiding from us. So we gotta walk a bit to track him down. And as I just said, I was researching quite a bit for this tour, happily, right? What a wonderful thing to get to dive into is The Wizard of Oz. Had been a few years since I'd seen the movie or really kind of touched the work at all. And I was thinking about just how many pop culture references this one work gave us. You know, common phrases. We all know the ruby slippers. We all know the Wicked Witch, the Emerald City, the Yellow Brick Road. I'm melting. I don't know. I'm sure I'm forgetting some really obvious ones. You guys will have to leave me a comment with, I can't believe you forgot this one. But it's just, there's so many household pop culture references. And I think, people like Shakespeare, who worked his entire life and gave us how many plays to get about the same number of pop culture references that The Wizard of Oz probably has. I'm not sure what I was just pointing to there. That is, I think I was saying that you could just see the John Hancock Tower through those trees if your eyes were good. You'll get another glimpse of that in a moment. These are those 3 baseball fields. So this is a great park. If you're living in the neighborhood, it's great for kids, it's great to bring your dog, or just to take a walk for yourself. And we have a lot of great parks in Chicago. If you have never gotten to explore, it's not just Millennium Park downtown, but we do try and have large bits of green to walk around. And I will be taking you around a few of them, most definitely. Would love in the comments if you are curious about any other parts of our city that you've heard of, please leave them down below. I'm planning routes all the time for this channel. We're doing a cemetery tour not too long from now, some architecture tours. And you can actually, if you are in the city, take our walking tour of Lincoln Park, which includes Oz Park in that tour. The link in the description below will help you sign up for that. Our full summer calendar is up, so you can plan your trip and include us in your itinerary. All of our tours are pay what you like, and they're done by professional guides who will walk you around and teach you even more about this neighborhood than we will see today with our focus on the Wiz. So that Cowardly Lion is just about to come into view there. You can see him on the corner. You can see his cement base. So we're going to walk up towards him. This is where the wind got so incredibly bad that the camera actually started to wobble. And I had said that there might be a tornado coming our way. The Wicked Witch knew we were up to something over here. So So I apologize for the voiceover, but I think it's the best way. We were going to enjoy this today. All right, so here he is. The first thing you'll notice about the lion is his tail from any angle that you see him. One of my favorite features, might be my favorite character of The Wizard of Oz. I love the Cowardly Lion. I remember as a kid, I thought that costume and makeup were just so incredible in that movie. Um, and, you know, of all the characters, that movie, for not having technology, at the time does incredible things, and most of it you just get so lost in the fantasy of Wizard of Oz. I do remember as a kid the scene where they're all walking in to meet the wizard for the first time when he's still a big scary head. The tail of the lion is the only thing in that entire movie as a kid I thought, I think that's a costume because it's kind of bouncing in a weird way. And as I remember as a kid, that was actually really comforting because otherwise that scene is very scary. So it was actually kind of nice as a kid to be pulled out a little bit and be reminded that it's all fiction. So Kearney added this one in 2001. This was added. And you can see he does earn his courage, his badge of courage there on his lapel. Yes, 2001. There it is. And you can see all the donors who helped make this park so wonderful. So from here is where we then jump over to Humboldt Park. I take a bus over to my old stomping grounds and we leave Oz Park. So I will end our voiceover and you'll get me back live right now. Okay, so I just got off the 73 bus. I'm in Humboldt Park. These are my old stomping grounds. This is where I lived when I first moved to Chicago. So I am having all kinds of feelings. I have not been over here since probably before the pandemic. It's been a couple of years. Everything looks the same. It's beautiful. I'm already thinking of how I have to do the Humboldt Park tour. We also have a beautiful walker and bike path called the 606 that was completed, and I used to run on every summer. So, and I actually see, like I said, I have never been over here for the Yellow Brick Road. This was completed in 2019, and I see it across the street. So I'm going to turn the camera around so you can experience it as I experience it. We'll see it for the first time together. So let me get this turned around. Okay, I just spun it around, and I think you guys could tell by the umbrella, it has definitely started to rain a bit harder here, so my hands are full. I have an umbrella and a camera. But I'm currently at 1713 North Humboldt Boulevard, and I think if you have really good eyes, you can see the mural that I'm walking up to, and then you might be able to see the yellow as well. I just have to wait for traffic here for a moment. So as we get over here, just a little bit of kind of how this all came to be. There was a nonprofit developer. Oh, my umbrella just went. Oh, there we go. So you can see Humboldt Boulevard is a pretty popular and busy street. I'll go once these cars go. Perfect. So, there's a nonprofit developer known as Bickerdike. In 2019, they were refurbishing some of this affordable housing, and they took the time to commemorate this neighborhood where Frank Baum wrote the book by adding a 70-foot long stretch of brick, which we are just starting to see now. I'll pan down a bit. And a mural by a local artist, which we're going to see as well. I'm actually going to pause for a moment before we get over there and drop the umbrella so that I can pan this camera a little bit better. Okay, that's better. Now I have my hand free to pan and zoom for us. Oh, here we are. We're at the Yellow Brick Road. There's no place like home. Oh, so this mural is done by Hector Duarte, a local artist, and oh, how beautiful is that? Let's start by getting a nice up close. So I can see that they turned right away the Chicago skyline into the Emerald City. Oh, wow. And then, of course, it looks like the Humboldt Park neighborhood right here in front. And that winding yellow brick road. Look, guys, there's my feet on the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. I can't do the dance. I could, but I'm not going to. We'll come back to that art, but I just have to walk it. I can't even wait. I can't even wait. Wow. Just wow. Sidewalk where Lyman Frank Baum, born in 1856 in New York, eventually got here to Chicago in 1891, walked this path as he was thinking about what to write. Oh, I'm going to walk it again. So a couple fun facts about Frank. He was a high school dropout, never had higher education, was not a big fan, from what I've read, of college at all. And he was very much a Renaissance man. I relate a lot to Mr. Baum in that he enjoyed performing, he enjoyed theater, direction, and producing. And he wrote plays, he acted, he had a ton of odd and end jobs throughout his life. And it wasn't until he was in his 40s that he became an author. Some pretty strong wind there. Hopefully you can hear me. So he became an author in his 40s and pretty much had immediate success, you could call it, with first his Father Goose collection and then immediately with The Wizard of Oz. So you see, I don't even want to say it's not that long. What's happening with my camera? There we go. I don't want to say it's not that long of a stretch. It is 70 feet in total. And I think it's a really nice, just the perfect amount on this corner to commemorate. Now, Frank Baum's home has been demolished. This is the area, this is the neighborhood, these are the homes, but his actual house is unfortunately gone. So I just want to take in this work of art nice and slowly. I'll be quiet for a moment. Just wow. What else can I tell you about Frank? He had a wife and 4 children that he moved to Chicago with. I think I already mentioned he was credited as the first popular children's book author in the United States. And he would go on to write 13 sequels to The Wizard of Oz to keep the story going until his death in 1919. He is also, because of his background in theater, he was able to come up with a Broadway show that all the music in the film would later be pulled out of. So he had a heavy hand, a continued heavy hand in the journey of Oz during his entire life. And then, of course, we know that today that legacy lives on, not only in places like this in Chicago, but through other works of art. Gregory Maguire would write the Wicked book series that would later be turned into the musical Wicked. Fun fact about that, I think a lot of people know who know that musical Alphaba. They named the Wicked Witch in that musical Alphaba. And that is actually a little play on the word L. Frank Baum. Alphaba, L.F. Baum. So just some fun facts there. Oh, this is so special. Well, if you are in Chicago, I encourage you to come over to Humboldt Park and walk the Yellow Brick Road. It's giving me all the feelings. And if you are exploring here, definitely check out both Oz Park and this beautiful little corner here as well. If you'd like to tip your guide, there is a link to buy me a coffee in the description below. And again, please subscribe to this channel if you had fun today. I'm going to take you around this windy city every week, showing you different areas of our history, our architecture, and share all kinds of tips to make sure you have a great trip while you're here from a professional tour guide. Thank you all, and I will see you next time.